Guys, I'm starting to think that Whoopi Goldberg just wakes up every single day with the intention of trying to be a total a-hole. And this latest story of her lying about a bakery in New York is just one more example of that. Let's get into it. Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. I appreciate you being here, whether this is the first time you have clicked on one of my videos or you are a returning supporter. Please hit that thumbs up button, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, and make sure that your notifications are turned on so that you never miss out on a conversation like the one we're about to have. If you guys are anything like me, you probably think at least a handful of times per week, how on earth does a show like The View manage to stay on air? I mean, truly, this is a group of the most bitter, miserable, vile, hateful human beings to ever walk the planet. Yet somehow putting them all around a table to spew garbage at each other is entertaining enough to enough people to where their program has managed to stay on air for decades. And there may even be a small group out there who consider the hags of the show to be credible sources of reporting. Though I imagine that particular group is made up primarily of patients in a nursing home who drool into a cup and consider Jell-O fine dining. And that's not to insult our elderly population of whom many of us have years of fond memories with. I'm just saying that the only way someone would find these women credible in any way is if they've lost most of their cognitive awareness and their capacity for independent thought extends only so far as to be able to blink once in a while and smile as they watch Bob Barker host Price is Right on reruns. And to those, I can grant some grace to because they at least have an excuse not to know truth from delusion. However, what is Whoopi Goldberg's excuse? If you guys missed the story, on Wednesday's episode from last week, the show took a moment to celebrate Whoopi Goldberg's birthday. They handed out these little cakes from the Holtermann's bakery in Staten Island, New York. The cakes are apparently called the Charlotte Russe. Let me tell you just a little bit about these little cakes because it is relevant to the story. This article says, once an iconic New York City street food, the Charlotte Russe is a push-pop style confection encased in a cardboard shell with a movable bottom. Inside, a disc of sponge cake is topped with a dollop of jam and crowned with spirals of whipped cream and a nut dust maraschino cherry. As you eat it, you push the bottom up with your thumb, permitting access to the pastry's deeper layers. My search for the elusive treat led me to Holtermann's bakery, reportedly the only place in the 5 boroughs to make Charlotte Russes today, until a few years ago, Bay Ridge's Leskies sold a delicious version available by pre-order. Founded in 1878, Holtermann's is the oldest family-owned bakery on Staten Island. Because these particular little cakes are so hard to find, I imagine this is why Whoopi called this specific bakery to order about 50 of them for the following day's episode, which, as we can see in this article and in the clips that we are going to watch, she and the hosts of The View and their audience are enjoying them. So clearly the order was fulfilled. However, as everyone started digging into their little treat, Whoopi Goldberg decided to tell a story about the challenges of getting these things made for the show.
The place that made these refused to make them for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What? Oh,
No. Let me explain. They said that their ovens had gone down, all kinds of stuff, but folks went and got them anyway, which is why I'm not telling you who made them. But can't be because I'm a woman, but perhaps they did not like my politics.
Yeah.
But that's okay because you know what? Listen. This is my mother's celebration.
Yeah.
Pick these up and celebrate with me and my mom.
So even in her own telling of the story, she says that the bakery gave her a reason for not being able to commit to fulfilling the order. In this article, we get into the almost immediate response that came from the bakery. It says it wasn't long before the bakery's owner, Jill Holtermann, denied Goldberg's claim, telling Entertainment Weekly that it was not because of political reasons, but because we were having trouble with our boilers. I said to Whoopi, I can't do it right now, she told the outlet. We have so many things going on with my boiler because the building is from 1930. So when she called me, I had no idea if we could be baking everything. Holtermann said that when Goldberg had ordered the sweet treats for the November 13th episode, the baker didn't want to make a commitment that I can't carry through as a result of the technical difficulties the bakery was experiencing at the time. She confirmed that she ultimately made 50 treats, which were picked up at 7:30 a.m. Wednesday, and insisted that the error had nothing to do with Goldberg's politics. And there may have been other people picking up orders. After all, they said they were having problems with their boilers, but not that they couldn't do any baking or that they were shutting down for business for the day. That, and obviously there's a huge difference between someone ordering something for an office event or for a family get together versus committing to bake something for a TV show and then not being able to follow through. Not that the others aren't important, but there's more flexibility and a little less stress if they have to come up with an alternative for one of these other smaller events than when it comes to trying to figure out how to break it to a TV host, especially when it comes to people as hostile as the Hags of the View, that you weren't able to keep your commitment. I mean, even when they did keep their commitment, these women still chose to drag them through the mud. So can you imagine if something had happened and they weren't able to? Now, obviously, especially considering today's political climate, when someone with a huge platform and a relatively massive audience is irresponsible with their influence and uses it to push lies out to their viewers, it can become a very difficult situation and an even dangerous situation for the people that are at the target of their comments. At first, I was really worried for the owners of this bakery because people are unhinged. And as we've seen, the vast majority of the lunacy and irrational behavior tends to come from the left, and they feel justified in becoming hostile and even violent toward anyone that disagrees with them politically. I was expecting that this bakery would have to close their doors for a few days to keep employees safe and to hopefully avoid dealing with the unstable lunatics that are easily set off when someone in the media gives them the idea that they are being oppressed or wronged in some way. Thankfully, though I'm sure they did receive backlash to an extent, the majority of the response, at least from what I can tell, is that the community came together to support them. Bakery held a press conference with local officials, and this is part of what they had to say.
I think the bottom line here is after we're going to call up Jill, who has had to endure something that she shouldn't have to endure. These people are up at 3 or 4 o'clock every morning. The sacrifices they've made, the holidays they've missed with their families. To make Staten Island better, they have sacrificed for 145 years. Rutherford B. Hayes was the president of the United States, for God's sakes. And they're still here and they're still strong and they're not going anywhere despite what other people on television have to say. And frankly, the people who defamed the Holtermann family should apologize to the Holtermann family for making stuff up to suit their needs. Not everybody wakes up every day and thinks about politics. A good business person doesn't care about anybody's politics. So with that, I'd like to call up Jill Holtermann Bowers. She deserves 110% support.
It's a community that I have to tell you, I'm so overwhelmed by the support between finding out yesterday this even happened, getting phone calls, and then people coming in, people from all over just supporting us in every way. We had phone calls yesterday from Alabama. Guy says, I'm going to give you $50, send it to a school, send them donuts, send them cupcakes. The support has been so overwhelming, and I know how hard my family has worked to keep this business alive. It took my whole family. It takes everybody, the community that comes every day to see us. We have this everyday conversation with everybody. How's the family? How's this? This is what makes Holtermann's. It's the community. It's my fellow everything that come out and us giving back to the community that makes this go round. And if it wasn't for you and Staten Island to make this work, we still wouldn't be here today.
After all of this, people lined up around the block to come and support this family and their business and to uplift them after such an insane and unwarranted attack.
So there's the famous Holtermanns. Shame on you, Whoopi Goldberg. Mara, look at how nice the line all the way down in the bakery. Let's see. I'm going to clock the wait on one. I don't wait on one anywhere. I want to give them my support like everyone else is. Go Staten Island. Go Holtermanns. And I'm going to try a Charlotte Russe, I think, for the first time. All right, guys, have a great weekend.
Since then, Staten Island leaders are demanding an apology from Whoopi Goldberg for the false claims that she made last week, which she absolutely needs to do. With any apology that comes from the left, it rarely ever comes from a place of being remorseful for hurting somebody else. It usually comes from a place of being sorry that they got called out for their egregious behavior and because their actions could affect their image or their paycheck or the production company that they work for. In this case, what reason could Whoopi Goldberg possibly give for jumping from our boilers aren't working to they didn't bake them for me because they're conservative and I'm a Democrat and therefore they're discriminating against me? especially knowing that without proof that this was absolutely true, she could be putting this business in jeopardy for no reason. This stuff just really infuriates me, but it also exposes so many things that are just mind-boggling when it comes to trying to understand how today's political left operates. First, I honestly think that these people are addicted to victimhood. They can't help themselves. They are so drawn in by the attention that they get when they can paint themselves as being oppressed or targeted in some way, and it's a bonus when they can somehow prove that the political right are the hateful bigots that they constantly insist that we are. However, if they were really the oppressed victims that they relentlessly insist that they are, they wouldn't have to make up stories to prove it. Yes, crappy people exist, and crappy people do crappy things, like refuse to associate with people who disagree with them on politics. They exist on college campuses where they can't handle having a conservative speaker there to provide a different perspective or have a healthy debate about differences in values. They exist online where countless liberals right now are canceling family holidays with their Trump-supporting relatives and cutting off contact with childhood friends over differences in voting. They exist in the classroom where teachers are going off on their students about losing the election and calling their students' parents racist for voting for Trump, threatening to fight anyone that they find out voted for this man. Yes, there is plenty of bigotry and discrimination going on in this country, and it doesn't need to be made up or embellished because the truth of it actually speaks for itself. The people who are dealing with the discrimination and the bigotry are the ones who are being lied about, and the ones calling us bigots are the ones doing the lying. Secondly, the mob mentality is insane to me. The audience that Whoopi Goldberg was speaking to gasped in shock as she told her story, even when she provided a perfectly reasonable explanation as to why her order possibly couldn't be fulfilled. Yet they took Whoopi's opinion on the situation as fact. That's the narrative that they grabbed onto, and they willingly ran with it. And what kind of a person does that make you? These are the same people who constantly call people on the right uneducated or uninformed. Yet what Whoopi Goldberg and the audience members demonstrated in this situation pretty much sums up the entire leftist approach to today's issues and is a blatant example of why we are so divided as a country. They take snippets of a situation and blow it up into the thing they want their viewers to believe, and to make it so egregious that the truth actually doesn't matter. Rile their base up to retaliate against the right to the point where emotions run so high that they lose their desire to even want to know what's true. They just want justice for the wrong they feel happened, and the only thing that will satisfy that justice is retaliation and punishment. Be twisting the truth about what happened with this bakery is exactly what the media does in this country every single day. Make up their own interpretation of a situation and don't allow for any grace or for any consideration that there might be another side to the story. If they allow any kind of rational thinking into the scenario, then they can't get the hostile reaction from their supporters that they want. It's emotional manipulation and control. Lastly, this is exactly why free speech and freedom of the press is so incredibly important. Using this as an example, if we didn't have free speech or freedom of the press, then Whoopi's version of events would be the only information accessible on this topic, and people would believe that this business was discriminatory, and they would feel that consequences against them would be justified. And this is the world that the left wants us to live in, to say what they want to say and to withhold the truth so we react in exactly the way that they want us to react, without knowing that we might be unjustly targeting innocent people. And the fact that it's Whoopi Goldberg and people who operate like her that are the greatest advocates for censorship tells you everything you need to know about why they want to control speech and how they'll abuse that power against us if they ever get it. I support Whoopi being able to say whatever she wants to say, but I'm so glad that the bakery and the officials in the area had the right to speak and expose the truth. Otherwise, the consequences could have been catastrophic for this business, and it would have been for absolutely no reason. And we all have the potential to be targeted in this way by people who are evil enough to lie the way that Whoopi Goldberg just did. And that's everyone on CNN, MSNBC, ABC, Karine Jean-Pierre, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, who lied about his entire record. This is exactly who these people are. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. Again, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that you are subscribed. If you want to support the channel in other ways, there is a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description box and in the comments below. All of that support helps me to grow this channel and to create more content that I can bring to you so we can have more conversations like this. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one.